Okay, so I'm doing a Zoom video. This is the first one, and the request from you guys was to learn how to read an astrology chart and especially the house meanings. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. All right, so I'm going to share with you a screen share. Let me open this up. All right, so okay, hope you can see this chart. This is a chart of Marilyn Monroe. I can make it bigger. Okay, so this is from astro.com. And when you put in your birth info with the city and time of birth and all that up here, like that, this is the kind of thing they're going to show you. Okay, so this is the wheel chart. So this is actually using it's a Placidus system. The method here, natal chart, it says in red color here, it says Placidus. So this is Western style chart, and it's so tropical Western chart. Okay. Yeah, I use mainly the Placidus system. Like all different astrologers, like they use different house systems, and the one that's most used is actually this one. The Indian people, the Hindu Vedic astrology, they use a diamond-shaped one, which if you want, I'll cover next time. But today I want to go with the most popular, easy one. Okay. So, all right, so you see basically there are different layers, all these different bunch of symbols, and today I really want to focus just on the house. So just remember that your chart is going to have something called an AC. This is the starting point. This is the ascendant. Okay, you can see that it's got these dark lines across here and here. Okay, so you end up with a quadrant, and I'll explain what those are. Okay, but so I just want to show you this chart so that you know, like, okay, when you put in your info, this is the kind of chart you're going to get. Okay, but I'm going to explain it using a simpler image. All right, so let me show you very easy to understand form, what the houses are. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on the number of the houses. Okay, so as you can see, again, you've got this quadrant going on here. Okay, and you see that we're starting your house numbers with 1, and it's just, each segment of the pie is like, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So each house actually corresponds to the sign of the zodiac. So, first house is similar to the Aries energy, which is all about yourself, your ego, how you appear to others, your basic energy or basic outlook in life. Okay, so it's also known as the rising sign or ascendant. Okay, so we start the chart always with the first house. Okay. And then the second house here, this is the Taurus house. So it has to do with your money, your savings, your early family history, or your family lineage, family business, anything you hoard or save. Okay, so that's your number 2. And this also has to do with, Taurus is about your food and food intake, your mouth, your throat. Okay. Aries here actually, Aries energy has to do with your head. Okay. Yeah, so each sign actually corresponds to a part of your body as well. All right, the third sign here is the Gemini house. Third house has to do with your communication, your siblings. Okay, it has to do with short distance, has to do with your dexterity and skills. It's connected to your hands. Okay, and also has to do with your own self-will and effort. Okay, that's the third house. And it can also be your neighborhood. Okay, so this has to do with your hands. You can see the fourth house here. This is the Cancer house. And fourth house has to do with your private life, things that are hidden away from people. Is the opposite from the 10th house, which is the public and the most visible part of your chart. So they're opposing each other. So fourth house has to do with all things that are very private, things that happen in your own house and home, your environment. It has to do with your mother's lineage, you know. It has to do with your emotions and well-being and conveniences, okay? And moon here is the ruler of Cancer, so it rules the breasts of your body, okay? It can also deal with your homeland and security. Okay, then we have your fifth house. Fifth house is ruled by it's the sign of Leo. And so this house has to do with your ego boost, or it can be your self-esteem. It's also your romance. It's your high school period of your life. It has to do with creativity and sports and hobbies, things that you enjoy. And it's really connected to your heart, things that you love, okay? Things that you create. So it has to do with your children as well, your offsprings. Okay, that's your fifth house, okay? So this, you know, if you enjoy sports, this is a house that deals with sports. Okay, entertainment falls under this house. Okay, so it's a Leo house. And then you have your sixth house, which is ruled by Virgo. It's the sign. Yeah, it says Virgo house ruled by Mercury. Sixth house deals with your health. It can be obstacles. It can be your daily routine, tasks. It can be your work colleagues. Okay. It can be a lot of obstacles and setbacks. And it really deals with your health a lot, health issues that come up. Okay. Oh, it's also the house for pets. Okay, then you have your seventh house. This house is your legal partnerships, marriage as in a contract, like legal binding. It can also be other people. You know, seventh house is opposite from your first house, which is you, your identity, your first appearance. And being opposite from that, it deals with other people, right? Opposite of you. So it can be just one person or many masses of people, but it's the other, okay, the concept of other. And so it rules your spouse, your first marriage, okay. Anything to do with business partnerships is found here. If you have a business dealing with lots of clients and getting clients, this is also the house you look at, okay. What else? So yeah, seventh house is relationships, basically. All right, then you go to the eighth house, which is the Scorpio. Oh, seventh house, so it's connected with Libra energy. Okay. Then you have the eighth house, which is the Scorpio house. This is death, taxes, inheritance, things that are buried underground, a lot of secrets that you hold. Okay. Yeah, so this can be, you know, your spouse's money, your joint bank account, or joint resources. It can be your in-laws, how you deal with the in-laws, and it's also, you know, the married life that happens after you actually get married. And this is also the house of your what do you call it? Pregnancy. Okay. Then you get to your, oh, and this eighth house, because the Scorpio energy, it really deals with big transformations in your life. Okay. Ninth house is the Sagittarius house. So it's ruled by Jupiter, and it has your ideals and philosophy. It's about publication, long distance travel, and pilgrimage. Okay. It can be your higher education, um, that kind of a thing. So your religion is kind of included here. Okay. Um, so this house is actually very important in terms of developing your spirituality, or what you find very important in your life. Okay. This is your aspirations and what you believe, right? Okay, then you go to the 10th house. This is again opposite from the fourth house. This has to do with your career and reputation, the legacy that you leave. This is connected with the Capricorn energy ruled by Saturn. So this has to do with long-term stability. This is the most prominent part of your chart, you know, like it's at noon of the day when it's really shining bright, really strong sun shining over everything. Okay, so that's your 10th house. What else is from the 10th house? Yeah, mainly your career and legacy that you're going to leave behind. Okay. Yeah, it can also be connected to your father. So mother is 4th house, your father is 10th house. Nowadays, if your mom is the one who is going out there to earn money and, you know, represent the family, or the head of the family, then your mother can represent your 10th house, right? Because we have the gender roles are much more fluid in our society, right? Anyway, traditionally, this would have been the house of the father, and yeah, your relationship to the father can be seen here too. Then you have your 11th house. This is Aquarius energy, ruled by Uranus. Um, this is house of your wishes, big gains, network circle, your friendships, basically. Let's see, big organizations, networks, all of that stuff. Okay. But this is also, you can see this part of your chart for your retirement. Let's see. I think that's mostly it. Okay. So this is also a gain, right? It's second from your 10th house. So this is what you gain from your job, from your career. Okay. Then you get to your 12th house. This is Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. So this house, you know, this is the house of your undoing. This can be where you spend a lot of your energy or give money away, like donations and charity. So this, you know, up from 1st house all the way up to the 11th house, this is the part of your life that is seen in the world, tangible world. Whereas beyond that, you know, 12th house is really to do with, like, you know, outer space. So, you know, anything to do with NASA, astronauts, out of this realm. So beyond that, you know, beyond this visible seen world, you can see from your 12th house. And in these days, 12th house has a lot to do with foreign travel, foreign lands. Um, but it can also mean isolation and places that are far away from our normal everyday life. So anything to do with isolation, like, and sanctuary, like hospitals, jails, wards, you know, those types of places can be seen also from the 12th house. But this is also the house of your hidden talent, apparently, right? Things that are, you know, if you have a hidden talent that you didn't really know about, you can see that from your 12th house. And your 12th house has to do with your sleep, bedtime and sleep. Okay. All right, so that's the basic meaning of the houses. As you can see that, you know, each of the houses actually correspond to the energy of the zodiac signs. And so each of them have a specific meaning. Okay. So I'm going to show you a picture that actually has, let me see if they have a, it's a bit small, but so yeah, to show you the signs corresponding to these numbers, right? We have 1st house, again, we have the word Aries written here, and the symbol, the visual symbol is like this here, okay? So, you know, in the beginning, you know, anytime they use these symbols and you don't really know what they mean, you know, just write it down. You need to have a little cheat sheet. I used to carry a cheat sheet, and, you know, anytime I see a symbol I don't know, I just write it down. And, you know, over time, your eyes are going to adjust. You're going to start to remember the signs, you know. But yeah, so it's really helpful to know these symbols if you want to get good with astrology and learn how to read charts fast. But if you want to just know your own chart, then just have a cheat sheet and just write things down. That's what I used to do in the very beginning. Okay, so yeah, this is how the houses are laid out and what the meanings of the houses are. Now I'm going to show you. All right, so this one looks a little bit more complicated because what they've done here is they've added just another layer to the symbols, okay? So as you can see, we have all these numbers going around the circle, 1 through 12, okay? And as we said, we have these corresponding zodiac symbols, you know, all the way from Aries to Pisces are going around the circle. What they have in this yellow part, this is the rulership, right? The planets that are ruling each of the signs. So you see the 1st house, you see this Aries logo symbol, whatever. This is Mars, right? Mars is ruling the Aries, right? So this is the planet symbol, and this is the what they call the ruling planet, okay? So first house is Aries by nature. So first house, you know, the natural ruler would be the Mars energy, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Okay, fourth house is Cancer, ruled by Moon. Okay, and the fifth house is Leo, ruled by the Sun. We have a sixth house Virgo with Mercury. Now, what you're going to start noticing is that except for Sun and Moon, you're going to see that a lot of these planets are appearing twice. That's because Mercury has two rulerships, right? We have Mercury ruling Gemini, third house, but also the sixth house. Okay, so yeah, some planets will be ruling two houses. So Venus, Libra energy, Venus rules the seventh house. We have the eighth house, Scorpio, rulership is Pluto. And then we have Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. We have Capricorn ruled by Saturn. We have Aquarius ruled by Uranus. And we have Pisces ruled by Neptune. Okay. Now this chart, and just to simplify things, they've only given you just one planet for each house. If you go a little bit more in depth, some of these signs actually have two rulerships, right? But we're not going to do that today. We'll just keep things very simple so that we just understand the very basics of the chart and how they got these names and everything. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, so just to recap, okay, first house, Aries, has a lot to do with ego, I am, right? So it's yourself, right? How you appear to other people, your outward appearance. Okay, this is your rising sign here. And then we have the second house. This is what you value, your early family history, money, savings, okay, family business. Okay, it has to do with your throat, your mouth. Okay, your Aries has to do with your head. Third house, communication, Gemini. This is your hands, dexterity, your skills, okay, your effort, self-will. Fourth house, this is your home, this is your mother, this is the comforts and conveniency, okay, your private life. And then you have your fifth house, this is your pleasure, your entertainment, things that you enjoy, your hobbies, romance, your children, okay, sports. And then you have sixth house is your health. It can deal with obstacles and setbacks. It can be your daily routine. It can be the tasks that you do at your job. It's to do with your colleagues. It's sometimes your clothing, your pets. Okay. Seventh house is Libra. It's your relationship house. This is your legal binding and marriage and business partnerships, how you relate to others. Okay. And your eighth house, this is your death, taxes. This is your pregnancy. This is your joint venture or joint resources with your spouse, your in-laws, and big transformation. And then your ninth house, spirituality. This is your ideals. This is your philosophy, your beliefs. Okay. This is your teachings of your father. This is publication, your higher education, and long distance travel and pilgrimage. Then you have your 10th house, career. This is your legacy. This is how you're seen in public. This is your reputation. Yeah, those kind of things can be seen here. Okay. This is your leadership and management kind of thing as well. All right, then we have your 11th house. This is your networks, circles, big organizations, your wish fulfillment, your friendship and community. Okay, this is your retirement. Okay. Then we go to your 12th house. This is your Pisces house. This has to do with the secrets that are kept from you, as opposed to 8th house, which is a secret that you're keeping. It can be your secret enemy, 12th house. So it can be your hidden talents. It's also the realm that is beyond the visible world, outer space, foreign travel, your sleeping time, and all that. Okay. Excuse me. All right, now let me see if I have another. Excuse me. So, yeah, so this is just basically everything that I've covered. It's just got all of the things that you want to remember. So this is again a nice little cheat sheet for you to remember what the houses represent. So, you know, if somebody comes, well, if you want to find out what your love life is like, then, you know, you need to have a basic understanding of yourself first. So you'll be looking at your first house, your second house, your ninth house, your fourth house, right? But if you want to understand your partner, for boyfriends, you'll be looking at your fifth house, romance. If you want to look at your marriage, it will be first marriage, it will be seventh house. If you want to look at your second marriage, it will be your ninth house. Third marriage is 11th house, and so on. Okay. If you want to know the outcome of something, you can always count 12 houses away, or that you can look at the house right before. So if you want to know how your first relationship or marriage is going to end, you can look at your seventh house, and if you count 12 away from it, you always count with the house itself first. So seventh house is your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So sixth house is 12th house from your seventh house, right? That is the outcome and result of your seventh house. Meaning, if you have a first marriage and you want to know how it ends, the outcome is, you can look at your sixth house and it will tell you, you know, the conditions or planets or, you know, rulership. All of the information you find here is going to give you an idea of what the final outcome of your first marriage is going to be like, or your relationships in general is going to be like, or it can be your business partnership, right? That's how you count things. What else? So if you want to look towards your money, then you will look at your second house. You can look at your 11th house. Okay, those are mainly the money houses. If you want to talk about investment, stock, you can look at condition of your fifth house. And I mean, each person has a different thing. Some people say fifth, some people say eighth, right? Gambling is seen from the ninth house, apparently. Let's see, what other things do people ask me about? Yeah, if you want to know about your children, look at your fifth house. If you want to look at your pregnancy, look at your eighth house. Okay. If you want to know about your mother, mainly the fourth house, or it can be just, you know, if your father was the one who stayed home and looked after you, then yeah, same thing. Okay, it's the fourth house. And if you want to talk about, you know, your father, then it's your 10th house. Okay. What else? Yeah, if you want to know about your foreign settlement, anything to do with your 12th house, this will tell you about foreign settlement. And if you talk about long distance travel, it's your 9th house. Short distance travel is seen in your 3rd house. Okay. I think that's pretty much everything I want to share about houses. Let me just double check. Yeah, I just got a whole different graphic so that I can cover. Yeah, this is another really nice cheat sheet that gives you a good indication of what all the houses mean. Yeah, I think this might be the best one here. Very easy to see. Okay. All right, so I'll upload this to the Facebook group, the thread that I asked the poll on. Yeah. Okay, if you have any questions, I'll do a follow-up Q&A thing. But yeah, I really hope that this covers everything you want to know about how to read your houses, okay, and what they mean. Oh, if I could add just one thing about the quadrants and the 4 really important lines. Let me go back to Marilyn Monroe's chart. Yeah. So yeah, we're back to the astro chart that you're going to look at next time when we do how to draw your own chart on astro.com. So, you know, basically what's happening here is you're seeing that here we have the small numbers, right? These are the numbers are your houses, right? This is your first house for Marilyn Monroe. Okay, her first house, you can see here. Actually, the sign here is not Aries. Okay. Her first house, actually the sign here is Leo, right? This little symbol here is Leo. You can say that. So when Marilyn Monroe was born, okay, this is your ascendant, the rising. Her rising sign was Leo. The moment she was born, this was what was affecting her the most, right? Okay. This is her rising ascendant sign. So she's a Leo rising. Okay. And you can see that in her first house, we have this planet. This is Neptune. Okay. And you can see all these degree numbers as well. Marilyn Monroe's ascendant rising degree is 13 degrees. And then her Neptune, which is sitting in the first house, is set 22nd degrees. Okay. So when we get into talking about the degrees theory by Nikola Stoyanovich, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, we'll get to all these meanings of the degrees, okay? But right now, what I want you to just look at is how from astro.com chart, a natal chart, somebody's natal chart, you know, they have given you these tiny little numbers, right? First house, second house, third house, okay? And then you're going to see that, oh yeah, this is not Aries, okay? Even though originally first house was associated with Aries, ruled by Mars, okay? But we actually see a different symbol, a sign, okay, because her rising sign at the moment that she was born was actually a Leo, right? So her natural first impression towards other people, her outward appearance is going to be very Leo-like. You know, she's going to be very flamboyant. She's going to be very royal. Like she's going to have this you know, she's going to have this natural leadership or, you know, just attention getting thing. Like she was born with that, right? And she naturally, you know, sort of famous, right? That's Leo, right? Regal, um, very easy to spot, right? She has that. And on top of that, she even has this Neptune sitting here. So she's got this, you know, this sort of soft glow to her, even though she's got this pizzazz and bling bling and whatever. She's also got this very ephemeral quality, you know, that an actress needs. Like she's got this whole sort of siren thing going on, right? So she's got a combination of those energies influencing her outward appearance, right? Leo and Neptune together. This is a really good combination for somebody like her who is an actress, you know, who is like this blonde bombshell, right? Leo has to do with gold color, so she completely nailed that look. Neptune has to do with cosmetology and aesthetics, you know, so artistry, music, a lot of that sort of, you know, artsy stuff. So she definitely had all of those working for her. You know, she spent hours and hours perfecting her makeup. She has this image that is so distinct, right? That's very hard to forget. Okay, so that's combination here. Anyway, so yeah, so her first house, it starts with this Leo, 13 degrees Leo, and her first house goes to it straddles the second sign Virgo, right? Leo to Virgo. Okay, I think that's around 11. Is that, no, is that like 7 degrees maybe? 7 degrees Leo. Okay. Sorry, 6 degree Leo. Yeah, if you look at the chart, number 2 here means your house cusp. So yeah, her second house here, this is 6 degrees Virgo. Okay, so her first house actually has 2 different signs going on, mostly Leo. Her second house is from 6 degree Virgo and it goes to Libra. Okay, and we see that this is 3 degrees Libra. Okay, again, mostly Virgo and a little bit of Libra. Okay, so this would have been where her early childhood life or family life would have been like. Okay, a lot of Virgo energy. Okay, it could be very critical. Virgos can be very perfectionistic, very critical. Okay, I think that's what her mom was like, apparently, very critical. That's how she developed a lot of anxiety issues, and later on that led her to drug problems. Neptune actually has to do with drugs. Anyway, so third house for her was the Libra house. Now, remember third house is communication, your skills, you know, all of that stuff. So she has this Libra energy, okay? So she's naturally beautiful. She's a model, you know, she's this iconic figure of beauty and glamour, okay? So we have this Libra, beauty, ruled by Venus, right? Okay, and it goes to Scorpio, right? A little bit of that sex appeal that she has. Well, she has a lot of it, but here, okay. Apparently, Leo people according to Nicola, Leo has to do with sexiness as well, like royal, but also kind of very sexy people. Anyway, so we have fourth house for her, right? It's the Scorpio sign. So immediately we can see that uh, her family life, especially from the mother's side, would have been completely traumatic for her, right? Scorpio has to do with big transformations, right? Okay, eighth house energy. So her fourth house being in the sign of Scorpio means that her family life just gave her a lot of big transformations. Okay, it would be very difficult for her. And you also have Saturn here, so it's doubly difficult, right? It's very karmic, very difficult things she had to overcome, right? Saturn is hardship, it's delays and setbacks and repetition. So she probably had a lot of hardships in her family life. Okay, big transformations repeated over and over throughout her life. Okay, so probably not the most comfortable house, not the most soothing house. Okay. Then we have our fourth house going into this Sagittarius energy. Okay. So yeah, we've got two signs here again. Fifth house, we have for her, Sagittarius has to do with Jupiter. This is your luck, right? And you know how she became this, very well-known, famous figure in the entertainment industry. So fifth house, creativity, romance, right? She starred in a lot of movies related to romance. And she was just a natural entertainer, okay? Or that's how she was portrayed, okay? So we have Sagittarius all the way to this Capricorn energy, okay, which is probably more serious and business-like, okay? But it's more enduring as well. Then we have her sixth house here, starting from Capricorn, and then we have this Aquarius energy coming in. Okay, this is her daily life routine, everything to do with her maybe work environment or tasks, daily tasks that she had to do. Okay, so it looks like maybe her daily routine may have been very fixed and stable. Capricorn is usually very stable energy, but again, it might have been a bit cold, right? Capricorn is winter time and it's cold. Okay, so it may not have been the most. It may not have, her daily life may not have been as easy. It might have been a bit, gradually building to something more stable in her life. Okay, seventh house here we see that to her public or her clients or business partnerships, right? We have Aquarius here. So she may have, she probably had a very sudden fame, right? Or suddenly she had a contract, that kind of a deal, right? Or her marriage may have been very sudden, okay? So Aquarian energy is Uranus is like, it's like a thunderbolt, like lightning. So yeah, it's very unconventional, eccentric. Her first marriage would have been with this kind of a person. Out of the blue, people didn't expect it, okay? But it could have also led to divorce, because anything to do with Aquarian energy has to do with divorce. Either she married a divorced guy or they divorced from this marriage, right? And in her seventh house, we see both Moon and Jupiter, okay? So obviously with these two benefic planets coming together, how the masses of people are so drawn to her, right? Moon is to do with your mother and what's natural to you, comfortable to you because of your mother's lineage and your ancestry and all that. But it's also to do with local people, crowds of people, popularity. It can be your moon is also your face, right? People remember her face. And it's even at the Libra degree here, right? So she definitely had a very beautiful face, but very eccentric or unconventional, right? Remember, she set this new trend of being a sex symbol, like a goddess, right? And you can see that here there is a red line connecting those two, right? Her outward appearance, okay? She's got this golden bombshell look here, okay? Connecting her to her beautiful face, okay? And she was so lucky and made a lot of money. Jupiter is your money, it's your luck, easy money usually. So those two coming together, you know, she was people's favorites. Everywhere she went, crowds would have loved her, right? Moon and Jupiter, two benefics coming together, okay, in the seventh house of clients and, you know, masses of people. Right. So people who have a lot of that kind of popularity, you have to look at their first house, seventh house, and also your 11th house, right? Okay. Masses of people. So Justin Bieber probably has 7th, 11th, probably also activated, maybe with Rahu, North Node, or something like that. Okay. Instant fame, masses of people loving you, that kind of a deal. Okay. So that's seen from here. Okay. But Uranus energy is going to be very unsettling. There's a lot of upheaval. It's very random, very sudden. Donald Trump has a lot of this energy. Okay, so you know how he's got this a lot of air energy, Gemini and Aquarian energy. You know, very quick to change his thinking. He blurts out what he thinks. He doesn't filter, and people can't stand him. He became a president out of the blue. Okay, all of that stuff, right? So this is future energy. So she was the trendsetter of the 50s. You know how in her time we had iconic figures like Audrey Hepburn, who was her contemporary, but you know she was somebody who set a different standard completely. Okay. All right, so we can see that from this futuristic Aquarian energy, trend setting, future forecasting, right? Starting of something new. All right, then we have here the eighth house. So we have Mars and Uranus here. So, you know, if she probably, I don't know about her children, but, you know, this probably points to very difficult pregnancy if she were ever to have children, right? She may have had a very difficult, she probably would have a cesarean with Mars and Uranus here. Mars is to do with cutting things open, surgery, especially in the eighth house, okay? So yeah, and it's also, she probably would have had an abortion or lost the baby. Pisces energy has to do with dealing with losses and all that, right? So we have Mars and Uranus together. This is very extremely unsettling energy, right? She may have gotten pregnant by accident. It could have transformed her life completely. It may have led to more problems in the marriage or divorce even because Uranus is here. So whatever the deal, I don't think her pregnancy or joint assets with her husband would have had gone through just a lot of tumultuous times up and down, like very unsettling energy. Okay. But with Mars being here, she probably would have worked really hard on the relationship. It just wouldn't have worked the way she wanted it to go. Okay. But yeah, so I think this points to the eighth house, okay, pregnancy, taxes, legal, the sort of the mother-in-law or in-law families, right? But there's a lot of loss here because of Pisces, and there's also Aries here, so yeah, a lot of Mars energy coming in, right? So she really would have gone through a lot of big transformations in her life, okay? Everybody has an eighth house, but with planets like Mars and Uranus, you know, you've got to expect like, wow, she really must have gone through traumatic times. Okay. Then we have your ninth house here, starting with Aries. Then it goes into a little bit with Taurus. Okay. So ninth house has to do with movies, cinema, theater, you know, acting, publishing, you know, things like of that nature. So we've got her Venus here. A lot of models have this combination apparently with Venus and Aries or Venus Mars energy together because, you know, Aries is your body. You know, a lot of Instagram models, they have this Aries related, you know, signs and symbols. Like, you know, Chiara Ferrani, for instance, she also has this connection, right? A lot of Venusian energy connected with the body, the Mars, Aries energy. So yeah, obviously she would make a very beautiful model again. Okay, so you can see confluence here. If you have repeated information, it makes it very prominent in your chart. Okay, so with her first house, her seventh house, and this Venus here, all of these really point to how iconic she's become as this visual representation. Okay, so we've got Venus and Aries, and what else was ninth house? She probably did a lot of, I don't know, I'm not sure how much of traveling she may have done, but she probably would have really enjoyed it. Venus is our pleasure, what gives us pleasure. So, and yeah, so I think she probably would have really enjoyed being very physical, right? Aries is physical energy. Okay, so we go also now to, okay, we see this thing here, MC. This is your midheaven. And this is your, kind of like the pinnacle of your chart, like the most extreme public point in your chart. So here we've got her Virgo degree, 6th degree here, midheaven for her in Taurus. Okay, so Virgo and Taurus energy coming together. This is her legacy. Okay, Virgo has to do with a virgin, right? And a lot of women have this combination again, right? Taurus is again connected with the Venusian energy. So yeah, just repeatedly, she is this, this style icon, fashion icon kind of person. Let's see. So with Taurus being here, I think she really would. See, she did do some singing, right, in her videos. Like she did some dances and singing. She probably had a very soothing appeal with her voice, right? Taurus, her throat. And you can see that in her 10th house, we have Mercury and Sun here sitting together. So if you have Sun in your 10th house, whatever you do, you're going to shine, right? Because 10th house naturally is where you shine to other people. And Sun being here in Gemini, right? People would remember this part of her, right? This is first appearance. This is your public image. So we've got the Sun in Gemini. She really embodies that as a public figure. Right? Gemini is, very quick to move, very youthful appearance, very like, kind of like a babe. They have very young, youthful energy. And with Mercury in its own sign, right, sitting with the Sun, this really makes her Mercury even more brilliant, right? It really shines. The Sun would make her Mercury even more sort of exalted, I think. And Mercury being its own sign is very strong as well. Okay. So yeah, that gives you this combination of her being this master entertainer, singer. She probably would have learned things. Yeah, this would be interesting to investigate. I'm not sure how she was either good or not with her memorizing her lines. This would be interesting to check just for verification whether she struggled with memorizing her lines or not. Here the Sun being with Mercury probably has double connotation though, because Sun is seen as a mild malefic. So even though it makes the Mercury shine, because it's also Sun is so bright. If you have only 4 degrees difference between these two planets, Sun could be there and it could harm the Mercury as well, right? It's too bright. It burns the other planet a little bit. So it's going to be a mixed effect, I think. On the one hand, she's going to be this really shining figure, this really brilliant, like really Gemini energy. But at the same time, there's going to be a little bit of a marring effect with the Sun being so close to Mercury, right? Because it's conjunct here. I think they call it a combustion, right? I think it's between 6 degrees. It's probably a combustion, okay? So there's going to be some harmful effect as well as Sun's benefit effects. It's going to be a mixed thing here. Okay, but whatever she does, if you have anybody who has Sun in their 10th house, you're going to be in a leadership position. You're going to be the boss. You're going to be this really, shining sort of figure. That's a kind of a given, right? Okay, then we have the 11th house here, starting with Gemini, and here we have Pluto, right? So Pluto here being in the 11th house of big gains and wish fulfillment, network circles. Pluto often has to do with people who are very greedy, very authoritarian, very controlling, Okay. A lot of billionaires have the combination of Jupiter and Pluto together, right? Here we have Pluto quite close to Rahu, okay? I think this is where we can see her connection to the president, maybe, the JFK issue, because, you know, Cancer sign has to do with your nation, right? Your native country. So I think this can be seen from Pluto, her connection to wealthy people, or you know, the supreme leaders or people who are very authoritarian or controlling. Okay, but when you have Pluto Mars together in the eighth house, this probably you know, connects to some kind of a crime or something death-like. This may have to do with rape, or you know, some kind of a shady thing going on. You know, how there's a conspiracy about how she died. Oh, hold on, I think we just got cut off for a second there, but I'm gonna have to go back to Marilyn Monroe's chart. I'm hoping that this video is gonna be one piece, not two separate ones. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing Pluto here. This, you know, even though Pluto is trine to Mars, both are very extremely dangerous planets, you know. So I think this really we had the confession of the guy who killed her, assassinated her pretty much because Marilyn Monroe was two-timing, or, you know, she was seeing JFK, but also this guy from Cuba, the president of Cuba or wherever, I don't know his name. But apparently that was the reason why, right? Yeah, and she had a tragic death, right? So eighth house death situation. All right, so we have the final house for her. We have the Cancer all the way to Leo, right? That's her final 12th house. Okay, 12th house in Hindu Vedic astrology has to do with moksha and final liberation. You know, it can deal with your ashrams and spirituality. I think she would have found a lot of comfort in things like that, because, you know, it's ruled by the moon, but it's also going to be a house of her undoing, right? So where she was looking for comfort, this may have caused her undoing, right? With Rahu, North Node being there as well, it's going to be addictions, a lot of addictions, and, you know, probably drug problems because it's in the 12th house, right? And yeah, and because it's you know, Cancer is ruled by the moon. It really probably has very big connections to how her mother raised her, or her ancestry, or DNA from her ancestry probably would have caused it, right? I think her mom was very mentally unstable, right? Anyway, so yeah, that's the Cancer energy here. Anyway, that brings us all the way back to the ascendant here. Now I'm just going to cover the four quadrants again, right? This ascending, AC is short form for ascendant. The opposite is DC. This is your descendant, okay? I've heard astrologers talk about this as AC is where you're born, where you start, and DC, so when your sun is rising, you're born, your sun is right here. DC is where the sun goes down. This is the opposite of you, so it's seen as being very dark. Okay. This is your ego death, basically. This is your ego. This is your ego death. Okay. So that's, again, originally the Aries energy with Libra energy. Okay. Cooperating with others. Libra is all of that, you know, partnership, having the balance, the scales, right? Being fair-minded, understanding the other person, diplomatic things, diplomacy, all that stuff is Libra. Okay. So we have ascendant, descendant. We have IC here is Imam Kali, and this is your the most private part of your chart. Okay. This is your most public part of your chart, the midheaven. Okay. And you can see that they're opposing energies, right? Okay. Most private, most public. So people who have a connection between the 4th house and 10th house, some of you, if you have a planetary connection between those two, it may point to a life where your private life becomes very public to people. You know, for instance, Princess Diana, you know, she was very open about her personal life, you know, and people really felt a connection to her because she was so openly vulnerable. Okay. Anyway, so those are the main points I want to make about the different houses and what they represent. I really hope that this gave you some idea on how to go about looking at your own chart. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll finish the video here. Thanks, guys. See you in the next video. The next topic that people requested was the first one was houses and meaning. The second one was how to draw your own chart on astro.com. Okay, so that will be the second video. And the third one will be the degree theory. All right, guys, so have a wonderful Sunday. I think that's what it is in the US. Most of you are in the US. So, and everybody else also stay safe and have fun. Bye.